So the year is the year 3000, right? And somebody wants to put on a clip showing one of the best top rockers of the 2000s, the 2020s, 2010s, whatever. You. What would you want them to be pointing to? Something that anybody today could go find right now.
Or like what kind of footage, what clip would they
Yeah,
watch?
what clip would you point them to?
Oh man. I
Salute to the subscribers, those that live beyond the cipher. I am your host, Illskillz. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. They cost you nothing. Welcome to episode 11 of Beyond the Cipher with Illskillz. Why not ism? We are the podcast that shows humanity in the superhuman. Today on the show, we have student, educator, innovator, and the winner of damn near every top rock competition known to breakin', the senior vice president of Rocksteady Crew, Bboy Ynot. What's up, Ynot? Welcome to the show, my man.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh man, I'm chilling. You know, episode 11, about a month ago. I didn't even know I was going to be doing this, and now here we are, episode 11. So actually, when this comes out, it'll be many months ago that I started this. But yeah, man. So I'm enjoying it. But you know, enough about me, man. Let's talk about you. You are the
Salute to
guest.
you on that though, man, for real, because we were speaking a bit before we started recording, and speaking about journalism and breaking, especially, I think is super needed. So I really think this is a great thing that you're doing.
I appreciate it, man. Like I was saying, is like we want to just talk about. We want to know people's history. We want to know, we want to talk about your accolades, your big battles, and your journey. But at the same time, we got to realize that these b boys are people, and
Right.
and even depending on what age you came into breaking, you were already kind of like for me. I started breaking at 19, so I'm already a grown up. You know what I'm saying? I was already, you know, Chris before I was Illskillz. You know what I'm saying? So I think it has value to learn the perspectives and the opinions of people outside of just what how you should be breaking. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But with that being said, let's talk about you in breaking.
Okay.
No
You
doubt,
already
man.
know.
Word, man. So, when did you come into contact with the culture, with hip hop?
I can't pinpoint exactly when because I think I've witnessed it, experienced it for a few years until I've realized that it was a thing. So um, I'd like to say about 94, 95 is when I was like, okay, this is a thing on its own, right?
Hmm.
And I say that because, I already met artists, graffiti writers in high school, started dancing, not necessarily breaking, but was already dancing and that kind of thing. It just like it was in my area, which is in New Jersey. But when I saw breaking and I saw that done in a more, if I have to say, official fashion, then I was like, oh, okay, so what's that compared to what I do, compared to
Mm.
like what I've been seeing, what I've been experiencing? Even graffiti, like there was graffiti everywhere, but it was like, the understanding of what it is, the, histories and all this stuff. Like, because if you're not really mentored into it, I think everyone witnesses these things. They just don't know what it is they're experiencing, right? But until I started meeting, other dancers and things like that, is when I started to get more involved, and then I was learning. So I say like 94, 95-ish is when I could say, okay, this is where I got schooled on what it is that I was doing.
So you actually didn't start with breaking.
No, 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 no.
What kind of dances were you doing before?
I like to say popping, but I'm not quite sure if that's what that was.
No, that
And
it.
again, too, because I say that too because as we go on, like we learn so much,
Mm,
through research and conversations and all this kind of stuff. Um, the New York version of popping is different, right? And I want to give respect to the dances that I know have a history that's not of the New York scene. So even when I started learning from Wiggles, you know, he had let me know that what we were doing was boogie boying. It wasn't popping. You know, popping was a very specific thing that came from the West Coast. You know, what we did was a version of boogieing and breaking. It was like a mixture of like two different things. Um, so yeah, I think I was imitating what I thought was popping. I was boogieing. I was, you know, doing more like hip hop steps, I would say, you know, Running Man, the usual stuff, things like that. Having a just heavy like forward rock and, you know, um, yeah, just party dances, I think I would say.
No doubt. It's funny that you say that because um, just recently I had Jigs on here, and he was saying the same thing, like about how he was like, we called it boogie, you know what I'm saying, or
Yeah.
you doing boogaloo or something like that, and he said that actually he wanted to pop first.
But the thing is that I wanted to learn how to pop. You see, for me, I thought breaking was like, I'm dead serious. When I was young, I would just like look at Michael Jackson and watch him glide and things like that. So I thought that was breaking, like boogie, like electric boogie. Like that's what they used to say out here. Like, oh, you doing the electric boogie? Like if you're in a party dancing, like, like late 80s, early 90s, people wasn't really busting like footwork windmills when they were dancing. They were probably doing like some up tops and stuff, and later evolved to like what people would call New Jack Swing, that kind of stuff. We were doing like a lot of Running Man, like Kid and Play type of shit, trying to mimic that. So, I didn't know that breaking was like that hardcore.
Like that makes about the third or fourth person that's come on here and been like, either I started with popping or I wanted to start with popping. And and he said when he saw Wiggles break, that's what gave him the confidence to be like, yo, I think I can break too. You know what I'm saying? So it's dope how that all connects. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because Jigs, I mean, we're of the same generation as well. So I think when you talk about Wiggles, for example, I think a lot of us saw him pop and lock, and then you would catch glimpses of him breaking, unless you really knew him like that. So maybe at first you were like, oh, that's a boogie. He does boogie. You wouldn't really see him on the ground as much. But then when he did get on the ground, it shocked you a little bit, because also it was rare to see someone be able to like cover all that ground and be good, right? To be also dope on the floor as well as on top and all this other stuff. So, man, Wiggles influenced all of us, man. It was crazy.
That's crazy. So would you definitely put him on your list of early influences?
Absolutely, yeah.
No doubt. Who else would you put on that list?
I would say, jeez, man, so many. I could go down such a list, man. Legs, of course. Ken Swift, of course. Pee Wee Dance. Damn. Breeze Team. Oh my gosh. Clown. Dude, there's so many.
No doubt.
And a lot of it, I think, too, was like, what I'm trying to figure out for myself, too, is trying to decipher what I was seeing in person, what I was seeing on video. Because when I started breaking in my area, a lot of the people that I met were from surrounding areas in New Jersey.
Okay.
And then when we started going to the Bronx, we met other dancers there, but like we all also kind of like watched videos and would practice with each other as well. Like that was the era of the VHS tapes, right? So you had all these like West Coast dancers that you would see that would influence you, right? And I had this conversation a few times with people like Crumbs and other dancers. I was saying, like, we saw y'all before you saw us.
B-boys, it's rocking your body and breakdancing.
Because of Freestyle Session, because of Summit tapes and all that stuff, East Coast wasn't really putting out tapes. So unless you came to Rocksteady Anniversary or one of the events on the East, like Zulu Nation Anniversary, you wouldn't know who we were unless we traveled to the West, and not many of us got that chance to do that.
Right, and this era is like pre-YouTube. The access to information is very it's very nomadic. You got to actually physically go somewhere instead of that's not
source.
That's not the World Wide Web, right?
Right.
That's crazy. So you guys had the events, but you didn't produce the marketable tapes.
No,
Wow.
that wasn't, I mean, there's so many B-boys I can name, people wouldn't know who I'm talking about. They may have heard of them, but they've probably never seen them. And what I think is really sad about that is there was a lot of dope B-boys at the time, and I think if I had brought them up to the generation of today, they may not see the genius in them if they watch that footage now.
Wow.
It was relevant to the time.
Right.
You know
I mean,
what I'm
but
saying?
think about it. It's like, well, one, we're oversaturated with video footage. Two, like the moves are, a lot of these moves are already there. Like there's a large vocabulary of quote unquote foundation. But could you imagine being back then and having to invent something that we look so simple as now, like a swipe? You're like, yo, so my feet are gonna touch, and then I'm gonna jump and twist, and then my hands are gonna touch, and then my feet are gonna follow, and you know what I'm saying? Like, just the idea of that we kind of trivialize now was actually like a mind blowing moment at once upon a time.
Absolutely.
No doubt, man. So you're from New Jersey.
Yes, originally, yeah.
Nice. And so what was the New Jersey scene like before you connected with those Bronx events?
It was wild.
Yeah.
we had a good amount of like people that were into the breaking scene, which was dope.
Nice.
In different cities though, right? So like when I moved around a bit, but I stayed when I went to high school, I was living in Clifton, New Jersey for a while.
Okay.
So you had breakers that were coming from Patterson, Passaic. There was some like in New Brunswick area. There were, so I'm just kind of remembering some of the crew members that I met at the times, because I was in a crew called Rock with Finesse. When I first started breaking, I got down with them, and yeah, they were spread out. Fort Lee. I mean, they were just all over to different places, and we would link up, which would take now that I think about it, some effort. You know what I'm saying? Like we had to like figure out how to meet up. I was younger than everybody, so for me, I was always the one that needed a ride or something like that. I had to wait, to get picked up or whatever. But they were cool with that. They always wanted to come get me, whatever. And it's funny, man. That so many people were traveling as far as they could just to practice.
Wow.
Like I remember, like when I moved to Philly eventually, I knew everybody already because they used to travel to our practice, and our practice from where they were at was at least an hour drive, or longer than that. But they'd come up, practice till 2, 3 in the morning, drive back home like it was nothing. At the time too, we just thought that was normal. You had to go to where you were at, to where things were happening. So Jersey was like full of just practices, stuff like that. Events were sometimey. Every once in a while, they started popping up. The event thing wasn't even really a thing, I could say. It was just jams, Like I didn't start noticing the battle structure until like after a while. I feel like it just happened. I wasn't like hip to it at first. We would just go and dance. We would go to even high school dances and rock. We battled crews at a high school dance one time, I remember. My boy Darby took me to a high school. We battled, but Yeah, you had to seek it out. It was very much like an underground thing. Like if you knew somebody who knew somebody, they were like, "Oh, we usually practice over here," and you just go find them and go over there and dance. Like that's just it. But yeah,
Wow.
Jersey had a good amount of people. Had
No
a good
doubt.
amount of people.
So you're coming up in New Jersey in the 90s, right? And anybody who's watched any kind of urban cinema know that 90s New Jersey was a wild time, right? We're
Depending
talking
on where you were at, yeah, for
right,
sure.
depending on where you at. And so we talking like New Jersey Drive, right?
Yes, that was that era.
Right. Was this going down where you were, or was this like more in the bigger cities? For more quality content from Beyond the Cypher with Illskillz, don't forget to press the like and subscribe buttons. Let us know how we're doing down in the comment section. And to make sure you don't miss anything from the channel, go ahead and smash that notification bell. We appreciate the love and support so far. So peace until the next episode. Bam, 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 bam.